Good afternoon. Welcome back to Air Radio Saljeruna Spain. Today, 21st March 2021. As usual, Monday to Friday, the bulletins from Banjul, the Gambia. We start with the headlines in English, then after the details. The first story on Standard newspaper, Trrc explain why it approved amnesty for Sabally. And also, Germans ask government to verify diplomatic passport holders. Usenu Dabo says UDP will not shut its door for BII-KIIBAARO, but that will not change their principles. U.S. new ambassador present letters of credence to President Adama Barrow. President receives advisory paper on NDP successor plan. Then after, Victim Center outraged by Amnesty for Sabally. GAF released 2 junklers. GPA investigation revealed $25 million is so far accounted for. Then minister should not approve travel clearance for mayors. Inspiring Gambians celebrated at Heroes Award. Trrc, that is day before yesterday. Let's jump on that. So let's go to Point newspaper. Point newspaper, the first headline on Point newspaper on Victim Center urges government to reject amnesty to Sanna Sabally. GAF released to detain soldiers or junglers. Trrc over review of attack on road users during the 22 years nightmare. U.S. ambassador present credentials to Barrow. Horticultural expert calls on Gambians to purchase local onion to empower producers. Down below, Musa Amulnyas to seek re-election. 4-day capacity building on EE appliance wrap up. Association for Welfare of Children with Disability launched. CREDD Grid embarks on manual development process for CHE. Let me sit down. Those are the headlines from Point Newspaper. Let's go back to the first story. The first story, which is Sanna Sabally's affairs. So now the details. Trrc explains why it approved amnesty for Sanna Sabally. This one by Lamin Cham, standard reporter and editor. Read by Hajalam Ayara Yusal Geruna Spain. Our YouTube channel. If you get into our channel, please subscribe, share, and follow us. And likewise on our Facebook pages also. The details, the standard lead story of Friday, 18 February, generated animated debate with many individuals and organizations criticizing the Trrc for approving the recommendation of its amnesty committee and recommending clemency for former AFPRC Vice Chairman Sanna Sabally, who admitted responsibility for killing about a dozen soldiers in 1994 coup. In justifying its approvals of amnesty for Sabally, the Trrc Amnesty Committee report stated that he already served time in prison for false crimes leveled against him, gave a full disclosure during public hearings. So, remorse initiated and participated in reconciliation with perpetrators, and that his crimes precede the Roma Statute and cannot be applied retroactively. The report therefore recommended that the former vice head of state do community services in state or service in state. The committee also recommended amnesty for Zagaria Dabo and Major Bubakar Ba Dabo was said to have shown remorse, gave a full disclosure in his application and statement, and was truthful in his application, but was also said to have given a full disclosure and accepted responsibility. So remorse, and participated in reconciliation activity with his victim. The committee stated in its report that it was aware that the Attorney General's chamber was going to grant immunity to another confessed killer, former soldier Alhaji Kanyi, and therefore refer his case to the Attorney General's chamber to complete the process. Amnesty denied. According to the committee, it denied the application for amnesty for former Vice President Aissatou Njai Sidi because she did not give a full, truthful disclosure to the Commission, describe her role as passive, whereas the Commission finds that during the 10th, 11th April 2000 student demonstrations, as Vice President pursuant to instructions from the former President Yahya Jammeh, he instructed Boubacar Jatta to deploy the army, did not take responsibility, and is one of the people who bear the greatest responsibility in the incident. The committee said it denied the application for amnesty for former Defense Minister Edward Singate foremost based on a technicality. His initial letter had without prejudice and was signed by his lawyer. He wrote back to his lawyer requesting that without prejudice be removed from the amnesty application. Initial letter had without prejudice and was signed by his lawyer. He wrote back to his lawyer requesting that without prejudice be removed from the amnesty application, and the client himself should endorse the letter. His letter, or his legal representative responded, remove without prejudice. However, still sign on behalf of client. Based on above, the committee cannot review the application as it contradicts the process of applying for amnesty. Notwithstanding, even if the application was signed, endorsed by the applicant himself, although he testified, the committee is of the view that he did not give a full disclosure as he was untruthful in his testimony. So no remorse except in his human rights violation towards Sanna Sabally, for which he participated in reconciliation. The Commission finds Edward among one of the people who bear the greatest responsibility for the human rights violation that took place during the November 11 unlawful killings and tortures. The death of Usman Koro Sise, torture of Sanna Sabally, Sadibu Hydra, and Boubacar Sanyang. As such, he cannot be guaranteed amnesty, the report stated. The committee also denied the application of Edward Singate's younger brother, Peter Singate, for the following reasons. His initial letter had without prejudice and was signed by the lawyer. He wrote back to his lawyer requesting that without prejudice he removed from the amnesty application, and the client himself should endorse the letter. His legal representative responded, remove without prejudice. However, still sign on behalf of clients based on the above. The committee cannot review the application as it contradicts the process of applying for amnesty. The report stated that Peter did not meet the conditions for amnesty, as he failed to give a full disclosure as one of the conditions testified before the commission, submit a written statement to the TRRC, and give a full disclosure of his participation in the crimes he was found to have participated in his amnesty application. The commission found Peter among one of the people who bear the greatest responsibility for human rights violations that took place. As such, he cannot be considered guaranteed amnesty, it states. So staking don't go, I'll back momentarily in Mandinka. Just a brief few paragraphs here, then go ahead with another stories. So after that, we will continue one by one from point also. So stay tuned there. Don't go. Ya sama mali lokal kontong token don nal kontong kendola nal badima la jaram e radio spin banko kang sa kono bi maj karoti limwang aning kilangola a continue ki warol mbara men mul fulali aning kilango men na details so karang kabo standard ki bar follow men findita standard wala mo tiara si e école sénéanle ko daylo mi atina ye yamfo ke sana sabali ko men abarta ku jawol men nimbototo jamanol iko Gambia la mansakunda se passport gibe ring diplomatic passport ibe men bulu sa gibe kuge yo nimbototo lo ya usenu dabo UDP ako to labunda man tra soron nem pour baroide baro nala fe wata sina bari komen e to la tamantrinya ko la obejele ato ote bonol America la ambassador kutoni yala kaitol di president nyinna nim president na kaito soto de kaito ming ya maro ba kono membe ko national development plan nyim ye men se a noto ka mena su seso ka continue hanibi komen benga long ko makan wulta de amola de kabring tiarati balafa sana sabali men adversely mention common killings and so many things tocho tiarati ko itul ya abala le puru kana kitinde so kamala ya mantoro la nyimeni kan ila dinkra ka mena victim centers coming be wurka mena rong munatin ne be sabali ibala be fala ay kabula yo Gambia la armed forces wol fana jongla sol men fana da kunta nyin tilimbali al kono e mo fula bula men be mile 2 detention o kono yo GPA comme wolum Gambia Port Authority comme jengo kol men be tama kanje kiskisol men be kering e ko ye tapalaya do fintindi de meng e tata fo dala so million wang ani lulu bari ni million wang ni lulu men kiskisiro a fintinte ko among tra account follow because wala nyinti wrong at abidamen imalon because it's not accounted for because kodo jeta bari ya keto tata damen or that's the question but ngajibe because an initial investigation by the Gambia Ports Authority into the activities of its rating unit kamato dingra kilome menika fengol value at dingra kilome yemen yitandi ko ilanye authority the kiskisro menke yaji ko 25 million wang ani lul men among konti kabo 2020 kono kota fo 2021 nunkumu nyimman konti bankola boyata kono mo safo nyame iyo hanibi nga kontine Chuar kunla. Eko minister alam memmarta meolela olam lansi ko amanyan naka puru ate manyan naka sembodi puru meol yetama kome ka minna clearance janni bitama la nyanda sarlat la ibula ko manyan nakala should not approve kama manyan naka okay ka approve ngajibe whether contrary or the mayor of Banjul kome Rohimalik Law has called on President Kumandiko Baro through as a bondro ke fenna olem nyaton ko olem executive olem order through not wrong vested powers in the minister olem batam em falatro olem musatra men manyan naka approve ke to la tamola ko la janni be findla banko kan ko ay president ba kumandi pro ayo sembo bondi abulu yo ambassador kutonyin men nata Gambia US America la embassy wala kaitol di president Adama Barrow so nga continue and be inspiring Gambian celebrate comme Gambian dingol men comme nyaka bo pour ka fanan kay suma modola e fon celebration okay comme Patu Kamara men initiate ka fo Heroes Award comme ye tournament di molmen ye katako ke banko kan so ino mukiwaro de men boda standard ni ngata point ni seva sana sabal ko findita je fanan ko mansakunda nyanta ka bayro ke ye Amnesty TRC Amnesty men di sana sabal so mansakunda la white paper ni anyanta ko bay amanya ka song la friend anin jam fana coincide to fana standard ning point ko Gambia Armed Forces ye la mo fula bula men be detention kono yo TRC comme kamur ka jibero ke ko la membe ko comme ya jibele membe ko silo kan mol men ka silo use mototiol new pen ko tangol teng comme lonko ya jamela wato la mol ye mantora jamala soto silol kan ning ya jamela kombo nyimbe findla comme sanji mo ning flow men tambita ya jamela marlo kono men keta mol nightmare ti comme suto sibo ka continue American ambassador fana yala later the President Barola comme coincide fana men mu horticulture comme gardino ate mu expertol ti garden do ko nyinto ay kumando ko Gambia de wala ko process na banko kan molga jabol men produce na gardenol to Gambia banko kan isnaje ko yewol sang isnaje ko si sembentu ya nyame menika nyin jabol dogu vegetable dogu musa amul nyas kombo o fanan be lafrem purga tombon ko take député bunyin ko tilinani capacity sembo ka irwandro kala ni nata membe denni appliance wrap up ko ma banda amam me bake wala nyindi go di Gambia the government of the Gambia through the Ministry of Energy and Petroleum in collaboration with the ECOWAS, UNIDO, Standard Bureau, and ECREE on Friday conclude for the capacity building on the national adoption of ECOWAS-approved MEPS, microfinance projects and so forth, and capacity building for TGSP, and training of key stakeholders on energy efficiency. So the mean energy efficiency comme ngine karandrole ke molla men be ko capacity building ne omerong pro la doku be ya yirwandi la nyame ngani be faham rosor la je nyame num bototo kafo men abe loring taranyala dinol la taranyala men ebuka la njurta dal disability yole londe o kafoni yo kafo men fane grid comme nyim curriculum comme karandro Kenya la aningala yirwa Kenya wala directorate comme kafo grid onda comme ministry bunaming abe men koto wala mu basic senior education last Wednesday tambila ya dati pro mun 10-day comprehensive tilitang pour fahamro la kalo ni nata jata kende ya la karang la kin karole ka men CHE manual development process comme men kela comme blola something like that o a Kenya rong membe ko ila school curriculum ne o ron school curriculum kamen karambondo men manke kilot so inel mo kibarol de men fentira point and standard so nga muru ngata kibar follow me nga karang nga brief do manning mandika kanga nyinto yo kibar follow nyimeng abota standard meme den en TRC ko mis ila kuma kangol itan le daylo mi atina bala fadi sana sabala puruka akanata kitilo because ku dole tambita men amanjara kote ke ka police kote latnay wala kata dayloti mina men folate me safe wala la min chamti standard la reporter and edicto member kranka la jara ya ready spend banko council sa to kono na YouTube channel yan anina Facebook page na dunda aliye subscribe aliye share aliye follow in dinkra kono fana membe ko na Facebook page bit so ngadun kibaro nyum fon kono wala standard ko ila kibaro membe ko kibaro me akumata din sa furong bari ni ko lead story ko men finta jumalon la ko mu fenne da to kibaro nyaato ko karo men ba konta tiltang anin sew sa furong ko February 18 February tili tang anin sew in kartambila men na ko kuti moli nyosabo kala kola bakele sako ni nata individual mo kunna kilin la nin fanan kafolla ka fijero ke kola de membo ko TRC pour mun ka song ka recommendation ke pro ka amnesty di len amnesty committee nyang ko men be loring pour ka molla ko jibe nyanta ka yam family o manyana ka yam family ko ka recommendation ke ka diro ke pro molla membe ko se balafai membe ko AFPRC la vice chairman kotonye membe ko sana sabali men asontanu ko atle nyin dunota ko mo jama atle ya sabu ko men ko fa men tara fu dosin men tara fu mo tan anin fin 1994 kudeta nyinkon continue abe yitan ro ke kan wato menna comme its approval comme pro in molu be yitan ro ke ka wato menna membe ko TRC comme daylo mi atinna sonda pour ka amnesty di Sabally bena wala fokante TRC la amnesty committee nying ye men fo la report nying kono comme ko nying be temo men do sa tata kasorle wati yalla kasoto men tumol la kan tumol men amanke to nyati ati sana sabal anim fanan anatna diro ke wato men na abi anata TRC pour ka to nya fujeto ko ay to nyale fo abarta kukula abe satale anim fana natna na re moske ne o rong ye kolmen bara kujawol molmen na ye nimisa kuwala anim fana yena na ibolosay ka continue ko folola men keta ko adakunda kolmen kono fana membe ko ka anim mol murta nyoka membe ko with perpetrators komen teo perpetrators kilon men fana mu kujaw kela and that anim fana ala crimes kujawol men nina ta gibe men na tara komen kolla karola status komen mem safeta nyin kusifalla komen Rome o status of data Rome bankola kan Italy komen nyimu moleti komen cannot be apply komen nana kute lano la kan kota ke men tambite ka men retro activity at sana Sabally komen bari abarta men na kulemu atambitale anim fanan nana bolo serol nyin koli ko kamala status on nyin men nyin his crimes comme ala crimes nyin proceed comme Rome tani Rome la status on nyin karol kamala itnana na murun kanno keno la kolla mes na bute no kol e ko nyaji be report on nyin de afo comme nyin men inadna ya marol di ko nyin former vice head la membe ko ni ata gibe ay do ko kele ka men du community service wala ay ya poni school membe ko community service wala jakadoko ki jamae alfudi ka continue committee kilongo ye diro ke fanan mola amnesty ka menna Zagaria Dabo ani Mejo Bubakar Ba ko Dabo men anyimfuko he said to have soon remorse walling in the wrong wato nyinna anara public hearing na anim fana letro nyin kono aya itan digeta ko ay menke anim satalale anim fana abi yamfo dan la ake menla ana barra kujawol men bela mukuleti kita fel ka continue anatna na itan roke kul le statement o kono ala dia momi asafe aki committee no ko mu fenne de ay tonya dron ne fojeto ala application no nyin kon anim fana ka anim fana te iko ba o fana ay memfo te kilongole mu ko men anim fana kaje ko sonta a sonta ala responsibility la ko men abarra kul men men kita koto ay itan roke fana ate ko kilongola nimiso anim yamfu ka dani anin fanan komen ake menna anna balafa na futi ila ani bi anan fanan ada kunta kol men kono membe ko kam murunyo kan ko activity men keta victimol anin victimol tema ada kunta o fanan la nin ye nyo haka tu komen ye men itan ay men itan de ala statement ko nani TRC fanan men itan Koni agibe committee nyin ye yintandi ko la reporto nyin kono it was aware comme kalamtaro keta ko Anthony General na kilindirla la nyaton ko ningrangin do damen ko ala fonko nyin tata jela awlemu ala immunity pour luasi bala fayno nyamen to another confess comme ko modolo fanati men nyim Anthony General la kemba nyin kaito taro la pro mari pro yam fo sikeno ay nyamen men afanana ni tilene ko ma barra mo fal men na membe ko sojar ko toni ka fay alaji kanye therefore ko men atnana case nyim murundi Anthony General la kemba la pro nana complete process ko men labang anyanta topoto la nyamen balanta men la amnesty fanana ko men itan ro ko committee nyin ko men committee balanta sabar fong le de ko amnesty men keta vice president kodoti Aissatou Njie sedi katu ko niajibe ati amanna na katonya fo TRC nyatlong la wato men ata public hearing to commission ni yitan roke fanan ala doko memu damen ko ay doko men ke sorry commission nyatlong la ila findings committee le men kisi komen wato la ko men kita April 10 kata April 11 2000 sango kono karamto no la demonstration o wato ni vice president kilo men na diro ke instruction o comme county pro former president kotola wala mu yaya jemme ate bi min no kan comme wala kan koto o ka diro ke kan la pro sojaro la nyaton ko memu Bubakar Babukar Jata ti amanka Babukar Jata pro kana sojaro sam manan o dinkrangin to nyin malamba ya kata damen dinnewol kadam dinnewol ya men ko nyimu fenneti ate aman song woduno nyin talde ko ate mon wodun ate mo o kamati nunko mu kango nyim bota president ngula ya anim fana is one of the people nyim moled men who beard nyin keta moled men abi mol kono men tolle nyin kujaw duno nyin ta pour ka ke Gambia banko kango men keta o wato nyinna itolle baratala itolle responsible tala duno be itolla kan bara balanta ol bela o kamala imanson ka amnesty ya bara mampare ka tlen to nyafo nyama nyatlen nyin iko nyin committee nyin ye memfo balanta ko application la pro ka amnesty di nyin former defense minister fanana membe ko Edward Singate comme ka kolbe degree men ka wolen wrong natna ke technicality comme sabar men safe comme back and forward push forward le siata kono hanala lawyer temo kamala commissioner manana pour ka ala fonko nyin ka jibe no nyanta ka jibe nyame likewise adoma fanan komen fanan ye pusan pulsora nala lawyer nyin komen ye safero menke pour nyin amnesty pour ka nyin itulunyo mo flobe odayla atne balante la fonko nyin ka kumo sutian kalamta ko fanan niaji be nyin application men itoliya sainte ko men itolin applicantol fon do ko bari niaji be he testified at another committee coming testified la coming yemen for wala ma CDRO kel and of the view coming ka gibe coming ni ata gibe rola karola he did not give amanana it and ko as he was untruthful coming yim amanana itan droga fengola de wala tinako he was untruthful coming in his coming amantiling ke ala testimony nyinto wala mu ala jabiro nyimmen ala CDRO men age anin fanan ka itan droke balafa anin nimisola barra kol men ka tilimbalia kol men ke ake molla pro amen la pro asi dani hako to mansongo fanan itan legeto anin fanan ay tinyaro men ke ni ata nyin hadamadiya nyanto tinyala membe ko nyin Sanna Sabally men atafana mu papetetol de anin fanan aketa victim oti fana at the same place kaman awo itan lede bari anin fanan inadna murnyo kam be ngajele wato la kafundi nyoma jeto le TRC la senta nyindo dame reconcilial te jeto kaman ye tilimbali amen kal ne ajibe ko in ye keta minto le wato menna November comme tilimbali amen kala nyin keta wato menna wolem November 11 unlawful killings coming it ate toli mol fa mol men siata bucket anim fanan ka butero ke mol in November me ka foto mo fa men ke kampol today konyagi bi the date of Usman Korosise fanna saya ufanan anim fanan ati Sanna Sabally kilon la butero la comme nyin koto nin doko da kunda to membe ko ati Sanna Sabally to ya butele be pare mo fa men yetu menna membe ko Usman Korosise membe wato ila FPRC la finance minister yin ko anim fanan mo membe ko Sadibu Haidra anin Bubakar Sanyang in be ebulosi tangin be male as such como kamala cannot be guaranteed wayatina ko ye blabla tanyin kolmen be konten in law on lawful killings nan tilimbali alla in mo floten dokonin koto te yamfale puru kanata kitidla nyatlo committee na fanan balang ni ajibe applicanto la call application la puru mola membe ko ati mo kilon la membe ko nyin dokonin koto dokote membe ko Edward Singate comme mota fola nyamen la doma membe ko Peter ata kukilon la mu murta kukilon la kan comme me itande ala koto membe ko anala kila lawyer nyin tema ala legal representative comme nyim prejudice comme ka dundi ka bonde o ka sign o ka tuje o ka fenka ko man nyato be murta na pati o wate o kamala kujamala soto je me ka mena contradict comme kol buka nyoche freng ila safero nyin kono comme koto tab ketanya men doko fonanta keta wala nyama comme nya gibe kamala balanta pour ka amnesty dial I mean safeo procession yin comme anim fana reporter itan ro comme Peter did not meet comme wala ate Peter among nyanta kaitol Coleman timmandla pro isi amnesty diala a felta le pro ko ta ko di ni nata ka itan ro ke kolla ni ata gibe conditional kolla karola membe ko ala CDRO tanin ay menke nun commissioner nyatlonga anin fanan ay submit menke safari fengola TRC nyatlonga anin fanan ay diro menke man diro ke and give a full of his participation puruka diro ke fenamen se sene anina ta da kunda kol men kono membe ko kuja o kewla damen he was found coming yaje ko ate barata nyin kola membe ko dake kol to membe ko nyin sifalten in his amnesty application on nyin kono nyanta ka will be safijeto kuma dake ta kol membe kono tilimbali anen kukaton la crime on men ay be ke amanna now be kala safere fengo nyin kono prusi yam fono ay nyame nimbodo do commissioner na te pita nyin jeko ate moleti men people who be at comme kita molti ngino dunu bal tade ni na da hanamadi ya nyantu tinyala yet tambo men kijeto men dante ni membe ko such as ko he cannot te at keno la modi men sinala koje ko puruka bala faye ru akana ta kitio nyatlo la comme in doko ni koto danaka ibe ko kilon la ke barta ko kilon la Edward Singate Peter Singate ni na tela safero fanana ngalo loya kilon atbe kala walati to back and forward coming kafmena produce prejudice prangin da tarla ila safri fon ko nabam fama ngina tarla je wo contradiction on yin ya tin la fon ko lata TRC bul ila letrol meni keki ka ajibe so hinam kiwaro nga men karanu angle kangoto ala details so sai mina nyato do manning bar koto nyin. Welcome back. Still with Sanna newspaper. The headline: Victims Center outrage by Amnesty or Sabally. Now the details by Al Hajmani, read by Radio Sal Yerunas. Now the details. The Gambia Center for Victims of Human Rights Violations has expressed its outrage following the publication of a report that the vice chairman of the AFPRC military interregnum, Sanna Sabally, has been granted amnesty by the TRC. The Standard reported on Friday that the TRC Amnesty Committee approved amnesty for prosecution for former AFPRC Vice Chairman Sabally, who admitted responsibility for the killing of many soldiers accused of a coup plot in 1994. Mr. Sabally was among people adversely mentioned by TRC who applied for amnesty to Amnesty Committee following the submission of the TRC report, which recommended the prosecution of specified categories of people found responsible for grave crimes. He was granted amnesty for giving a full disclosure during his testimony at the public hearings, according to the TRC. But the Victim Center said he saw no regrets over his participation in the killings of Lieutenant BII-KIIBAARO, Jibril Say, Abdullah Dotfal, and other soldiers. It is outrageous, discouraging, and disheartening to hear. He killed our husbands in such a way and called them enemies whose heads must be cut off like a snake. Fatu So Jaite, widow of slain Sergeant Fafa Nyang, said at a press conference last Saturday. She said the victims cannot accept the recommendation for Sabally's amnesty. That is why We want President Adama Barrow to know that we are citizens of this country. Let him give us dignity and what we deserve. The briefing was organized in Kotu by the Center and other victim-led organizations in the country in the wake of the standard expose. The recommendations are outrageous, discouraging, and disheartening, said Adama Jallo, the national coordinator of the center. In the statement, numerous victim-led organizations, including the American Network Against Extrajudicial Killings and Enforced Disappearances, and the announcement was shocking. According to Section 19 of the TRRC Act, Sabally should not qualify for amnesty because the crimes he committed form part of crimes against humanity. This therefore renders the approval illegally, and those should not be accepted on by the government. It ends the station. Don't go back momentarily. Ya sama nga continue me kibarol men karankang sante embedening victim center fana jabiro men ke sana saballa amnesty ko nyin ko men ko amanyen na kala fereng ni kibaro me asafe wala mu alaj maneti men bakra ngala ma na YouTube channel lo into nal dunda ali subscribe ani bonang ali share ani ali follow na in dinkral beto membe ko na YouTube jang aning na Facebook page ol beto yo ka konne kibaro ngina membe ko mantoro mol la dinkra ga mena victim center ko men hadamadin nyanta tinya eta min la ko men yeyi tandi ko baba ke abo yeyi tan ko wato men na reporto men keta sana saballa koti ko wato men na be AFPRCI barta kujawol men na military mansakunda men tartana banko kannu ko men ye kudeta ko 1994 sana sabali has been guaranteed comme ye yamfo diala comme TRC la committee nyindo comme ngeta kuleti men mol balantala de men be ko sako nyi mantora molten ila dinkrani ka continue standard ye reporto ke fenna membe ko juma tambila ko on the Friday juma longa TRC amnesty men di pro nyim chawnyina membe ko ikana na kitindi menketa nunto vice chairman oti sana sabal men sonta non katle duno nyin duno ta ko men mol men fata sojarol men men tuminin ko ye kudeta la ke ye wala plan plot comme coup plot in 1994 sang kono comme sang metul fon e kudeta ke abandula ma fon la comme ateo 5 kilon nyin kono Mr. Sabally was among attending mol jamal men ye tofo bakele ni ada nayin truth reconciliation reparation commission on yindo damen who apply for comme men ye yam fo diala ten comme la committee ni membe ko amnesty committee men ka yam jibero ke molla ko la fo la requirement mittale pour se balafe ban kanata e kitin comme ngai submission o menke e submission o menke comme tiara si la report ni na kabring e recommendation o ke ko prosecution la karola men molbeji men be ko la category comme ya yitande men nyanda ka prosecute ani men nyanda ka prosecute comme barta kol men o category comme men yaje ko barta kulel men keta kujawol ti min warta bake comme anglo government grave crimes na garant ke comme ka song bala fadi nyim mola membe ko full disclosure comme pour ka yam fae de liomi atina ay tan troke ala CDA nyin kono damen ya public non en sa foron public hearing comme jama be laje public kono ay itandroke ala bolla mbarta fengo fenata kuja okeolam nim fana nimiso fana ta koto anim fana kitabul kuti men anyanta kala ku kebal de barate kenol so kamala na bala fay ka yam fay anin ay kasola ana ay do ko ke jama fana e be so la punishment ko ko me kaso mel la fana keta kuleti men comme ay ya tumi kulla men amam menke so yinbe sabo keta ala yam fort le bar ngin mol balanto la men be ko 15 centa ni 15 centa ye men fo wala ngin ko nyin keta molti amang nimsa ko le men be ko adala kun mo falto men be ko lieutenant Basiru Barola ko nyi anin Jibril Sey Abulay dot fal amang nimisa wala de ay men dante ko men gulat na ko nyi mo molati men mangen ka yam fay bara man nimisa wala saya ngin dum atel order the old la saying when not na ka kuti men is outrageous comme asiata dat le ka fo comme ma ka la karola comme anim fana mol mangen ka nyin kusifa ka ta ka encourage banko kan anim fana anim jusu tewo nyi molati comme ka yin kuma sifa moy mola men an mole yin kuma fo membe ko ako akema men in such way comme ya fa nyamen kata nyalama men amam beti ya ferem comme wole yin kuma kan dante ni fana kuma ndro ke comme ate and call them comme nyang ate Basiru aninyi mo ko don den ate sana wol kuma ndiko enemy comme whose head comme wolu in Gabriel J Abdullah dot fall and kata mo ko don la kata lieutenant Basiru men sana wol kumandi jawalla nim fana ko nyanta kuntu la ko ka sa ko kuntu nyame o so jarol ko men muso nyin ko nyam kumalti men mangen naka fo killing of ni mollate itan droke fana ko ni mukuleti men amanyan naka ke frem who's ko men ka fodron ka hadama dum ko kuntu ko men sa nim fatu so jaite men keda fana ke dola kedola o ka me slen sagin fafa nyang ufana muso la wote ala furia muso ufana min a foko yin kusifa manya na kila kata min tole conference la yin sibit tamila kabrin yin kuma kan fin da tiara sila yin conference o keda na yin fofana ko muso yin ko ako iko said the victims como molmene mantoro certain cannot accept so na mume go purunyi recommendation o me ya ke sana sabal yiten puruka ayam fai to sonna la mume ke I mean dante ka continue ko niaji bi senta nyindo other victim led como aning do koton nen ye nyaton ko ya ko nimu ko yannim be futalode ko okay niaji bi fanan ime ya foten ko molte sonnala it will victim molte ko men ye that ko president Adama Barrow nyanda kalon ko it will mu banko de on leti anim fanan yande la hormone la bunya di nyanda ka men soto ka men dignity and what we deserve men in adna briefing ke ko men ko la membe ko organize ko men yin donc bengo nyi men ya organize kotule la senta nyindo ko men lo kotangol ten aning ni mol mene man toro soto men be nyatan ko ala la kafolte ko niaji be banko kan kabrin nyin kuma kan findalem standard ye men exposed en comme in nine amnesty quoting ko la len natna organize ke nyin bengola ye men ke la dinkrato kotu ba continue comme in recommendation wala ye ya maro men di ingata kuleti outrageous comme anim fanan discouraging comme kufula comme asiata dalti anim fanan manyan naka sonyin na feren comme anin nyim keta jusu tewalti ni ajibe banko kan ko Adam Barrow in safuron said Adama Jallo nyim Adama Jallo nyine fo man sekunda ko manyan naka sonyin na feren Adama Jallo anim fanan ko atlemu national coordinator di ni ata nyin dinkra nyin nan comme nyim mol mene mantoro soto teng la dinkra ko ala statement ko no membe ko numerous victims comme mo jama ni nata men victime la moti nyaton ka ila kafol la ten comme including men be wol kono ni nata African network against extrajudicial comme nyin mo fa jaw men keda banko kanteng komen anin kamol force ke yemandi banko kan ibuka lo tata damen anin fanan said the announcement come yen kan klaro men keta fenneti men keta barankan kubal di teremma ku me illa ko yembe findla TRC la kuma kan kon natna itan pro ke fanan ko sectional na malol kita ba kono membe ko tannin kono do sababa dan la paragraph ni na ta TRC la tamantri nyame yedi la o akni ko sana sabal man nyanna ka qualified friend pro mun naka amnesty diala wala ka yamfa pro kana kitindi najibe kuma barata kujawol min la min anim fanan form part of kono na ka kafu kujawol kono min be ko adamadi ya nyantuti nyamen ka mena crimes against humanity o be kamala wo yala ko be tinyale men barto kol men pour ka approval ke munna atlanyin amnesty la ko iko wonin loi mun loi tinyal do mun loi manda feren ko men yitan ni yajibe ko not be acted on by government community should not be acted by when you manyana ka sot tafan ansa kundala karola yemen dante to madon menyin dan na jamina murana nyato ka kibar dol fanan futandal